Section 10 of the Fables of Pilpay. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Tasha Mapes. The Fables of Pilpay by Anonymous, translated by Abdullah Ibn al-Muqaffa and Joseph Harris. The King and His Two Sons. Fable 2. In the country of Ardos there lived an ancient king who had two sons, both covetous, yet given to debauchery. This monarch, finding the infirmities of age increase upon him, and that he was hasting to the other world, and considering the humour of his two sons, was much afraid that after his death they would dissipate in idle expenses the vast treasure which he had heaped together, and therefore resolved to hide it. With this design he went to a religious hermit who had retired from the world, and in whom he had a very great confidence. By the counsel of this hermit the treasure was buried in the earth near where the hermit dwelt, so privately that nobody knew anything of it. This done, the king made his will, which he put into the hermit's hands with these further orders. "I charge you," said he, "yet to reveal this treasure to my children, when after my death you see them in the distresses of poverty. It may be," added the king, "that when they have suffered a little hardship, they will become more prudent in their conduct." The hermit, having promised all fidelity in the observance of the king's commands, the monarch returned to his palace, and in a short time after died. Nor did the hermit long survive him. The treasure therefore lay concealed, probably forever to continue so, in the hermitage. The king being now dead, the sons could not agree about the succession. This occasioned a bloody war between them, and the eldest, who was the more powerful, utterly despoiled his younger brother of all that he had. This young prince, thus deprived of his inheritance, fell into a deep melancholy, and resolved to quit the world. To that purpose he left the city, and calling to mind the kindness between his father and the hermit, "There is no other way for me," said he to himself, "but to find out this honest man, that I may learn of him to live as he does, and end my life in peace and contentedness in his company." With this resolution he left the city, but coming to the hermitage found that the hermit was dead. He was greatly afflicted and disappointed at this unexpected chance, but at length came to a resolution to live as he had done, and accordingly made choice of his retirement for his habitation. Now there was in this hermitage a well, which had been used to supply the place with water, but it was now dry. To inquire into the cause of this, the unhappy prince ventured to let himself down to the bottom of the well. But how great was his astonishment when he saw the lower part of it for a great depth filled with his father's treasures! On finding this he was thankful to heaven, and wisely took up a resolution to lay out his money with more moderation than he had done before. On the other hand, his brother, who sat securely revelling upon his throne, without any care of his people or his army, imagining with himself that his father's treasure was hid in the palace, as he had told him upon his death-bed one day, being at war with a neighbouring prince, was obliged to have recourse to his expected treasure. But how was he amazed after he had sought a long time and found nothing! This quite disabled him from raising a powerful army, and threw him into a very great fit of melancholy. However, making a virtue of necessity, he raised what force he could, and marched out of the city to meet and encounter his enemy. The battle was obstinate, and this king and his enemy were both slain, so that the two armies, enraged at the loss of their leaders, fell to butchering each other with equal fury, till at length the generals, having agreed together that it would be their better way to choose a mild and gentle king for the government of the state, went and found out the young prince, who was retired to the hermitage, conducted him in great pomp to the royal palace, and sat him upon the throne. This fable shows that it is better for men to rely upon Providence than to torment themselves about the acquisition of a thing that was never ordained them. When the young man had ended his fable, "All this," said the father, "may be true, but all effects have their causes, and he who relies upon Providence without considering these had need to be instructed by ensuing fable." End of section 10.